Do you like adventure and solving complicated problems? Did you ever want to become an astronaut? If yes, the perfect opportunity might be around the corner. In a few decades, humans are planning to go to Mars. When you grow up, you might be one of the first people to live there. How cool is that? But what will you need to survive on Mars? And what will life on Mars look like? In the next slides, I'll teach you a little bit about Mars and how humans plan to live there. But let me give you a quick tip right now. A city on Mars will look nothing like a city on Earth. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Mara. Hello there! And I'm a PhD student at the University of Westminster in London. I study astrobiology, which is the field that studies life in space. Among other things, astrobiologists look for life in other planets. No, not that kind of life. We're looking for bugs that can live in the most weirdest and dangerous places. We also study these bugs to find out how life evolved in our planet. These bugs, also called extremophiles, can also help us live in dangerous worlds like Mars. Mars is our neighbor. Earth is the third planet from the Sun, while Mars is the fourth. Both worlds look different, as we can see here in this image. Earth's color is blue because it is covered in water. Water reflects the color blue when hit by sunlight. On the other hand, Mars has an orange-red tone due to a compound called iron oxide, which is present on the Martian surface. This compound is the same found in rusty things, so Mars has the same color as an old coin because they're both covered in the same material. But even though Mars and Earth look so different these days, we think that in the past, Mars looked a lot like Earth. We believe that Mars, many years ago, was also covered in water. We can see the river scars on its surface. And we think that water is now trapped underneath the surface. Mars and Earth have similar day-night cycles. Each day on our planet lasts 24 hours, which is the amount of time the Earth takes to rotate around its axis. A day on Mars has an extra 40 minutes, which is then almost the same as Earth. But even though Mars and Earth share similar things, they are indeed very different planets. Unlike Earth, Mars is a giant, cold, toxic desert. No liquid water on the surface and temperatures as low as Antarctica. One of the biggest problems on Mars is the fact that it has almost no oxygen. Humans need oxygen to survive. And instead of oxygen, Mars has carbon dioxide, which can be toxic to humans. The soil and rocks on Mars are also toxic. Because of compounds called perchlorates, they make growing vegetables and fruit very hard on Mars. Another big problem is radiation. Because the Martian atmosphere is much thinner than our atmosphere, it will not protect humans from harmful sun and space particles that cause cancer. These are some of the reasons why we haven't taken humans to Mars yet. Only robots. This photo was actually taken by one of the robots exploring Mars right now, the Curiosity rover. But if Mars is too dangerous, why do we want to go there? Well, humans are explorers, and nothing is too challenging for us. In space exploration and in astrobiology, we have people with different passions, interests, and jobs, and we all work together to solve some of the biggest problems. For example, astronomers study how the universe works, engineers build spaceships, botanists teach us how to grow food, chemists know how to produce medication, and geologists can help us better understand the Martian surface. So, if you're interested in any of these subjects, you too can be a space explorer. Astronauts will need to take some things from Earth if they want to live on Mars. But just like when you go camping, you can only take to Mars essential items. When you go camping, you'll take a tent, clothes, and even matches to start a fire. But if you take everything you have in your room to the campsite, you don't have space in your backpack or in your car. If you try to take everything, you also need many car trips and tents to store everything. This will be very, very expensive. It will help if you learn how to make things there rather than taking everything with you. The same thing goes for Mars. Missions will cost a lot of money, millions of pounds. And like cars, spaceships don't have a lot of extra space to store everything. Liquid water will be one of the first things that we need to learn how to make on Mars. Luckily, as I said before, we think there's water underneath the Martian surface. Mars also has a North Pole which is covered in ice. Building houses to protect ourselves from radiation and the cold is also very important. These houses on Mars will have oxygen inside and a pressurized atmosphere that will make us feel like we're back on Earth. Inside some of these houses, we will grow plants and food to eat. Plants are some of the highest producers of oxygen on Earth. They produce oxygen by taking sunlight and carbon dioxide. We humans are the other way around. We produce carbon dioxide while consuming oxygen. This gas exchange between humans and plants can help us produce oxygen and reduce carbon dioxide levels on Mars. So, by using plants and algae and green organisms, we can start making our own food and oxygen on Mars. Oxygen, water, food, and houses are some of the most important products we need in order to survive on Mars. But we will also need other objects, like forks, instruments to fix things, and other small objects that we use on a daily basis. Once again, we don't want to take everything with us. So where are we going to find these tools? Have you heard of 3D printing, also known as three-dimensional printing? It's a fantastic tool. It allows you to print real objects. Until recently, printers would only print images and text on paper. But now, instead of ink, printers can use rubber, plastic, and even metal to print all sorts of cool objects. If you want to use a 3D printer, you first need to build or buy a 3D model of the object you want to print on your computer, as you can see in the computer image on the left. The computer will then order the printer to start printing the object. The printer will melt, for example, plastic and print your object one layer at a time from the bottom up. This is just like baking a cake, and putting different layers of the cake on top of each other. You can print many different things with 3D printers, including toys and even real organs like a liver. A few objects were already 3D printed in space inside the International Space Station, as shown here on the left. Big 3D printers can also be used to build houses on Mars and even the Moon. NASA created a challenge in which different teams had to design houses that could be 3D printed on Mars. This one, on the right side, it was the winning house. They actually printed the house in real size during the final. One of the best things about this house was that they want to build with a mixture of Martian rocks and bioplastics. Bioplastics are plastics that don't hurt the environment. Isn't that amazing? On Earth, the majority of plastics are made chemically by humans from petroleum oil. These plastics are very, very bad for the environment. They don't disappear quickly and are being accumulated in nature. Sometimes, animals think plastics are food. They eat, get sick, and can even die. Plastic pollution has become one of the most important issues of our planet. We should recycle plastic and avoid using them when possible. But because plastics are such a big part of our lives, we should also try to replace them with something better. On Mars, we don't want to make the same mistakes we did on Earth. We should try to replace plastics with bioplastics. Bioplastics are plastics made by living organisms. And because they're made naturally, they are biodegradable, which means that they will disappear from nature because of other living organisms will eat it without getting sick. Bioplastics are sometimes referred to as biopolymers. Gelatin and starch from potatoes and corn are a good source of energy and also good examples of biopolymers. Plants bioplastic, it's called cellulose and is very popular. Even microbes produce their own bioplastics. In fact, a particular microbial biopolymer is the focus of my work. Its name is polyhydroxybutyrate. I know it's a complicated name, so you can call it PHB. I'm trying to make PHB production cheaper so we can use PHB to print objects on Mars. I'm doing that by using algae to produce PHB because algae it's so easy to grow. The only thing they need is a few nutrients, water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide. And do you know where we can find some of these things? Exactly, on Mars. So, what do we need to do in order to live on Mars? What are the 3 important things we need to remember? Number 1, use as many Martian materials as possible, like Martian water and Martian carbon dioxide, to reduce the number of things we take from Earth. Number 2, recycle everything. Plants, bugs, and algae can transform our liquid and solid waste and carbon dioxide into oxygen, water, and soil to grow food. Third, and finally, take 3D printers to Mars with you so you can print small things like forks or large structures like houses. This way, you don't have to worry about extra luggage and the additional cost of your Martian trip. So remember, for Mars, the less we take, the better.